Hey guys, my name's Dave, this is Custom Spray Mods, and in this video I've got a perfectly painted panel here, but we're going to repaint it a different color, and I'm going to get someone who has little to no experience with a spray gun to try and see how they go. So I'll give them all the equipment, I'll give them the paint, give them the primer, the clear, and just give them the gun and see what kind of finish they get on this panel. And then I'll spend some time with them, teach them a bit, show them how to set up the gun, show them the techniques, and then get them to paint another panel. We'll compare the difference between having no experience to having a day with training, and we'll see what the finish looks like. Yeah, so let's do it. Okay, so I've got Tash here. Yeah, this is Tash. So she's had a bit of experience painting, not much, but yeah, so I'm going to get her to paint this panel, and we'll see what kind of finish she gets. So yeah, you haven't really used the gun much, have you?
Not really, no.
So we're going to paint this panel, and we'll go in, we'll choose a color, and then yeah, we can paint it and see how you go, yeah? And to make things interesting, we're going to fix that too. So yeah. Have you ever fixed a dent before?
No.
Ever used body filler?
Not really, no.
All right. Okay, well, let's get into it. And you've never used body filler before, right? No. Okay. All right, well, let's see how we go. Okay, so we've got a dent here. We basically need to sand it and apply the body filler. So I suppose we can just head into the shop and get some materials, yeah?
Sounds
Let's go. Grab one of them. Yep. One of them. Yeah, one of them. One of them blue blocks down there. Yep. Cool. 120.
Yep.
Get one of them. Get an 80. That's it. And a 240. Okay, now it was time to sand the panel and mix up the body filler. She didn't really have an idea on how to mix the body filler or how much hardener to use, but once I told her, it was pretty easy to get this part done. Pretty good at that part. So one tip is like, say you're mixing, if you like bend it and just like jiggle it left and right, yeah, that can like push out any air bubbles. So it's like, yeah, and that like kind of pushes out any air bubbles, which when you whip it, it can like put bubbles into it.
Not sure. Cool.
Yeah. Now applying the body filler, as she has never done it before, really didn't have any idea what to do, but I let her have a go, and obviously it could have been better. After showing her my method of applying body filler, a method that makes it a bit easier, then she had another go, and it ended up a lot better. Alright, leave it at that. The next part was sanding the body filler once it was dry, and like most beginners, they don't sand enough. They think they've sanded enough, but they need to sand a little bit more and make sure it's completely smooth before moving on to the next step. So now what do we do? Yeah, so we're going to put primer on here.
Yep.
So can we just primer this? No.
No.
We can't primer over 80 grit. Yeah, we have to primer over 240 grit.
Okay.
So we'll go, you have to double the number.
Right.
So we can't just go 80 to 240, it's too big a jump. So we'll double the number. So 80 times 2 is 160. So we'll either go that number or lower.
Right.
So we've got 120.
Yep.
So now we'll just sand with 120. That's it. So the dent was repaired and the panel was sanded. Now we've cleaned it with wax and grease remover, and it's time to mix up a high build primer. She's mixing up the high build primer, mixing it with some multi-purpose thinners. We're going to stir it up and put it in a spray gun. So the options for the spray gun tip is 1.2, 1.3, 1.4, 1.8. Got no idea. If you were to pick one, which one would you pick?
Guess
okay.
Close.
That's alright, yeah. Now it was time to spray the primer, and she's trying to get some advice out of me, but I wasn't giving up anything. I just let her have a go and see how she would spray primer. And basically, for someone that hasn't really painted before, she's doing the things that a lot of people do when they start out. She's got the air pressure way too high, she's not going off the panel, and not really overlapping enough. The spray gun was a little too far away from the panel, and her arm speed was a little too quick for primer. But after a quick tutorial and a quick demonstration, she was getting the primer on a lot better. She was going a lot closer to the panel, the gun was set up correctly, overlapping was good, she was painting off the panel, the distance was good, and the arm speed was really great. Now this panel is primed up nice and smooth. Does that feel better? Yeah, looks better. Yeah, look at that. After about 45 minutes, we let the primer dry and we applied some guide coat, which she'd never really heard of before. But we did that, and now it's time to sand the panel. We sanded the primer with 400 grit dry sandpaper and then finished with 800 grit on the machine, just to make things quick. After setting up the panels, cleaning them with wax and grease remover, it was time to mix up the base coat. We've chosen a purple pearl. We're mixing it with base coat thinners. We're going to put it in the spray gun and lay some of that base coat on the job. Kind of matches your hair. Ready to go into battle? She's trying to get some advice out of me, but I'm not letting her have any information. Yeah, so that's alright, just go for it. Do whatever you think, yeah? Now it was time to spray the base coat, and she was going really slow and not quite taking the gun all the way off the panel. A little bit too close to the panel for that speed, and I mean, the metallic is now bunching up. There's a whole heap of orange peel, and I mean, this is just not the right way to lay base coat. The metallic is not going to sit right, and if this was trying to match an original finish of a car, then this panel would not match the rest of the car. So again, I've given her a quick tutorial, a bit of advice, how to hold the gun and how to paint, and let her go again on this panel. So by the time we got to the 5th layer of base coat, she was getting the technique really well. Basically overlapping really good, painting all the way off the panel, had really good arm speed. The metallic is nice and even, nice and covered, and I have to say, this base coat finish is really good. Now it was time to mix up some clear coat, mixing the clear and the hardener and putting it in the spray gun. And I just let her go for it with that clear coat, and I think she saw a bug on there because it was like she was trying to kill a spider with some bug spray. So one thing I noticed, and most beginners do this, is they're a little bit too far away from the panel. They don't paint all the way off the edges, and they just don't overlap enough. So I needed to explain to her these things and give her a bit more advice on the technique and let her go again on the good panel. How do you think that went? After explaining to her all the things she did wrong and a bit better method of painting clear, she was getting the clear on really nice. Overlapping really well, the gun was nice and close, getting a nice wet finish, even on this vertical surface. We're getting the clear looking really good. Now, because we are painting in a shed, we're not painting in a proper spray booth, we do get a lot of dust in our job, but the final finish is a lot better on the second panel. The clear isn't as dry, it's got a nice wet look, and it's going to be a lot easier to machine polish those dust nibs out. Now Tasha's never wet sanded clear and she's never machine polished before, so after a quick tutorial, a quick guide, I gave her the machine and let her start hacking at the clear. We sanded all the dust out with 1500 grit, then 2000 grit, and then 3000 grit. Finally, we used a rotary machine, a hard pad, a coarse compound to machine polish it, and then finished with a fine compound and a soft pad. Now the end result was amazing compared to the panel that had no guidance at all. The panel where I guided her and helped her use the primer, the spray gun and machine polish, it came a lot better. And basically the idea of this video is to show that even a beginner can get a really nice finish. Looks better out here, right?
Absolutely.
Wow. All right, so we had these two panels. We were going to let someone spray it that had very little experience, and then we were going to teach them how to paint and see if they get the job done even better. And definitely from start to finish, Tasha's technique was better from start to the finish. Applying the body filler, spraying the primer, spraying the color, spraying the clear coat, even machine polishing. She did really well. Let's get her in, come over. So yeah, how did you like it? Did you find that you were better from the end to the start? Or?
Absolutely. I feel like I'm a bit more confident with it now.
Awesome. No, she did really well. And I mean, as you can see, the technique wasn't that good at the start, but then by the end of it, she looked really confident. And I mean, the panel we produced was pretty damn good. Are you happy with that?
Yeah, it looks so good.
Yes, it's nice and shiny. I mean, like, the metallic is nice and even, which is something to look for. The clear coat is even, there's no dryness. I mean, compared to this, yeah.
Absolutely.
And I mean, I hit it with a hammer as well. So, yeah, that's good.
See that, so.
Awesome work. All right, so at the end of the day, yeah, if you want to ever come to one of my classes, check out the website, and you can do all this in one day or over 2 nights. Just check out the website, vgautopaints.com.au, and all this stuff's available from the website or in the shop. So, yeah, thanks a lot. Good job. See you next time.